All right. It's time. The embargo has lifted. Let's give our overall impression of The Acolyte, the first 4 episodes. Episode 1 and 2 aired tonight. We've seen 4 overall impressions, Alan.
Overall impressions, dull. I'm not talking about the 3rd episode, but dull. I disagree with you. I think this, of all the Disney Star Wars, I think Mando season 1, Andor, and this one have probably the best production values. In terms of compared to Ahsoka and Obi-Wan, this is great. But again, we're comparing piles of turds. Someone a while ago, about 6 months ago, said the words, turning Star Wars into a girls' brand will be the most costliest.
That was me.
Yeah, that was you. That was Star Wars is a girls' brand. Disney Star Wars is a girls' brand. Lucasfilm Star Wars, boys' brand. This is a girls' brand. They're going to lean into it. They have leaned into it. There's no denying. I don't know why you got so much shit for that comment, because it's true. It's a girls' brand. Look, Disney should just embrace it and say, yes, look, we're making this for girls. That's fine. That's their business decision, and they can live with it. And to criticize you for pointing it out, I don't know why, because that's what they've done. So good job, Chris. You insightful as ever.
Well, I'll just say this, that this is the most agenda that they have tried to shoehorn into any property. It's not as apparent in episode 1 and 2, which are pretty much a police procedural with a murder mystery. Yeah. And it's not even a mystery. Okay. We'll talk about 1 and 2 in a second, but it's not even good on that level. And so much of the writing is simply bad because it uses or rephrases previous lines that have already been heard in Star Wars. There are so many, may the force be with you. I've got a bad feeling about this. Yeah. Don't make me, don't make me destroy you. Like, just variations on lines from Star Wars we've already heard in other Star Wars, but now with more agenda woven in. I think it's the cheapest looking of all of them. I think Andor looked the best. In the production value, Andor was the best. This is the worst because of, well, wait.
Okay, go ahead.
The exteriors of like outdoors, like a jungle environment, was created in a studio and it looks like it. It's bad. It's just bad. Second thing, the universe, no world building. There's no world building. And the Jedi, we'll get into detail, but the Jedi are basically like the LAPD. They're like, stop in the name of the Republic and the Jedi Order. There's even a scene where there's a ship shining a light down like a helicopter, saying, stop right now. Like, what?
How many times do they say we're conducting an investigation?
Yes, we're conducting an investigation. And then with the whole Jedi Council on Coruscant, it's basically the corporate head office. There's even a scene where they're like, we'll talk about next steps. That's what people who work in the corporate world talk like. They don't use that language in Star Wars. We'll talk about next steps about this problem. That's a corporate meeting speak. The dialogue is so god awful in all the episodes that it's embarrassing.
Okay, I need to challenge this. First of all, you cannot be seriously telling me that Ahsoka and Obi-Wan's production values were better than this.
Well, no, I can't say that. Let's just say this is just as bad as that. But they spent more money on bad.
I'm just saying it's worse. I'll say this. It's not Star Wars movie quality, but it's something I would expect from Star Wars TV in terms of a reduced budget on sets and things like that. I would expect that from a TV series. The other thing, dialogue-wise, again, this is worse than Obi-Wan and Ahsoka.
No.
The dialogue here is much better. Dave Filoni cannot write, and this feels like a breath of fresh air after coming off Ahsoka.
Oh, I disagree on that. I disagree. I watched these 4 episodes twice. And I'm telling you, no.
Ahsoka's so much worse.
I was writing down lines. They were so bad.
Yeah. No, I believe you. I'm just saying, I cringed all through Ahsoka. I tolerated the Acolyte.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So my overall
Leslie Edlin is a better writer than Dave Filoni. I'm saying it. That's
disagree, and you'll probably disagree
you honestly think Dave
with me
Filoni's
after
better.
you see it. And here's what I'll end with. My overall impression. This is the worst thing that they've gone full the Force is female.
Mhm.
Because when we get to episode 3 and 4, they change the definition of the Force.
Yes.
Oh, they do. We'll see. We're going to talk about each episode individually when you get, but they literally change the definition, which is why I'll say, may the thread be with you.
Yeah.
They re-explain the Force to which kind of retcons what it's like a rephrase of what Obi-Wan said, but in a feminized version. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just say this before we get into, individual episodes. In the same way that I think I'm going to disparage straight men right now, straight white men, if you will. I don't think straight white men should be overseeing a cosmetic brand or a fashion brand, or I don't necessarily think straight white men should oversee the Barbie brand. By the same token, Star Wars is a male-centric brand, and this team, at least the team for the Acolyte, which they proudly said is the majority women, they have a profound lack of understanding of what Star Wars is and what it means to people. And I think, there's certain types of people that are better at certain jobs. When I was doing television back in the day, right? G4. You know what? And all the time I did TV, you know who did my hair and makeup? It was women or gay men. And I trusted them. And they did a phenomenal job. I never once had a straight guy do my hair or makeup. Okay? Fine. Okay? But I think there are certain people attracted to certain types of things. And what I also miss about what's missing in Star Wars is what I will call gear porn. Like Han Solo represented gear porn. Like he was interested in the engine and this. You got tools, and we're working on this thing and whatever. And the Millennium Falcon was like a Chevelle or like an old classic car that you would restore. It was like that. It was that kind of fetishizing of tech, and that's not present in any of this. And that is part of Star Wars, is fetishizing tech and gear porn and spaceships. There's no love of any of that. It's just in the background as a thing. Like they bounce from planet to planet doing what? Trying to solve this mystery. So
yeah, 4 episodes. In 4 episodes, there's one starship. And there's a land speeder. That's probably the coolest thing you'll see in the first 4 episodes.
No, it's not cool. And by the way, names the planets. I wrote them down because they're so lame. They're completely not memorable. They're not memorable. These planet names, I wrote them down. They're terrible. They're like Ueda, or like they run, They're Karlak. That's the name of a planet. Karlak. They're just awful. Like, nothing from this will be memorable. So I overall, I think this is going to break people, in particular when they get to the third and fourth episode. So
well,
Alan, I'm just
look, this leans heavily into Disney Star Wars. Look, the first thing I saw when Friday hit and we got access to all this was Grace Randolph's review. She loves it, and part of me thought to myself that this was written for Grace Randolph. You know, for that girl nerd who's way into Star Wars. That's the audience for the Acolyte. For guys like us who have grown up with Star Wars, who loved it as children, as kids, this is not for us. It's not for us. It's for Grace. It's not for us.
You mean when we were young boys?
Young boys.
Yeah.
I was 10.
So.
Sorry. It was like I was 10 when I saw it.
Yeah, I think it was 11. So, but look, they've changed it, and this is supposed to be the height of the Republic. This is the height. Mm-hmm. This is the High Republic, right? So it's an idyllic, perfect. Everyone's great. There's
no
pronouns,
war, no conflict,
no war. There's this mystery, but basically, the Star Wars universe is third world. It's still parts of it third world, and yeah, we'll get into specifics. Let's but that's it. My overall impression is this is a 2 out of 10, if not a 1 out of 10. It's the worst, if not the worst, next to Kenobi, and it has no interesting characters that are beloved. There are no there's no member berries. I didn't see any real member berries or cameos other than lines that people spoke, right? There were lines that are like, I've heard that in 10 other Star Wars movies. So yeah, so that's my overall impression. Alan, to your final thoughts on overall.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4 for production values. No, it's a 1 and a 2. It's a 1. This literally killed Star Wars. I just remember watching that third episode thinking, I do not recognize what this is. You know, the idea that after watching Return of the Jedi, after watching Return of the Sith, or Revenge of the Sith, thinking this is where Star Wars is headed. Not in my wildest dreams would I thought that this was where George was going to take the series to this point in time, and just realized at that point it's not for me. I don't need to be a Star Wars fan anymore. And you know, I think it's true. I think people have dropped out along the way. This is to me, this is the final nail in the coffin. It's dead.